I knew from the very beginning that this guru is something special.
Baba is a revolutionary par excellence. He brings change in every area of life.
Baba to me is the oneness of everything.
It's a very miraculous, very powerful person.
He gives love so
Indira
much.
Gandhi got it in her head that Baba would be her downfall.
My guru is in jail because he opposes this whole system.
He propounded one theory known as proud, and that was the cause for persecution.
Baba did not come randomly to this planet. He came with a mission, and he came at a critical juncture in history. Around the world, protest fasts and appeals to prominent individuals to lend their names on behalf of Baba continued. For example, in 1976 or 77, I met with Mother Teresa in Calcutta. She refused to offer any support, even so much as a letter of inquiry about the case, to the Indian government. Others were more sympathetic, but the results were negligible. Around 1975, in Australia, a more forceful tack was taken and, to some extent, followed up around the world. We called it the War of Dharma. This involved not just protest but street theater, and often some persons were arrested for misdemeanors like breaking the peace. Occasionally, traffic might get disrupted or pamphlets thrown down from the gallery onto members of Parliament. At the same time as the War of Dharma, we started to see acts of violence from mysterious sources, often accompanied by letters claiming responsibility from an unknown group with a name that mimicked an organization Baba had founded. That group, if it even existed at all, called itself the Universal Proudest Revolutionaries Federation. So in Australia and around the world, the War of Dharma had begun.
It was just after the emergency. I was kind of lucky because the Margis were like all under arrest during the emergency, and they were just putting their lives back in order, and the ones abroad, they were like just getting over the shock that the thing, and I was Johnny on the spot, so I was able to get out to the jail. And they used to in those days have 20-minute interviews with the prisoners, so I began this thing of meeting him and getting my 20 minutes, and gradually the numbers increased so that so many Margis were coming, and they used to go in groups and just do sastang pranam, and I told them, no way, Jose, I'm not going to go 2 seconds and meet Baba and go out. I have a right. I've been meeting 20 minutes. I get my 20 minutes. So I used to go alone and sit with Baba for 20 minutes. And he was so awesome. When I was always a skeptic about everything. I never believe anything without some kind of proof. I had gone to I had a doubt about why, like, anybody can live for 5 years on only curd water. It's like really hard for me to swallow. Even though he's my guru, I can't help it. So I thought I really need to find out, but I didn't trust the superintendent will tell me the truth. So I thought, I got to trick this guy. So I went to him and I said, like, there's got to be somebody like sneaking food into him or something like that. And he told me, no, you've seen the security. Literally, there were 6 gates you had to go to get to him. They were locked. They had guards. There was police in the 3 rooms which Baba was in. The 2 rooms had police in them all the time. So I asked him, like, okay, then how is it possible that he's living on only curd water, just yogurt water? And he was like, I don't know. What I think I need to convey is what they did to him in that jail. It was actually, I don't know, somebody said it was a condemned cell for the person on death row. I'm not really sure, but I remember you would go through 2 gates. There were actually 6 gates totally to get to his room, but the two main gates outside, and then I remember there was like a little courtyard that you would go through, and it was barren. It was probably his exercise area. It was barren. It was just dirt, you know. And then you would go to the end, and there was a door, and then you would come back again, and then you would go into his room. His room had only a curtain. There was no door. And that means no privacy, you know. And I don't remember what was behind. Baba was sitting on a chowki, on a cot, and wooden cot, and there was it was a suitcase or it was a trunk in the corner there, because I remember. And the room was like just a little larger than a bathroom. It was very small and dingy. It was, sometimes in India they have bricks missing from the top where the air can come through and light can come. Didn't even have that. It was pitch dark. There was not an ounce of light. The walls were crumbly. It was dreadful. The bed was wobbly, you know. Once I heard it crashed. I don't know, but I didn't see it. But it was a subhuman condition to keep anybody in. No fan. It was an oven in the summers. The temperatures here go like way over 40 degrees, 40, 42 degrees. It can go up. I don't know in those days in Patna what was the temperatures, but it would go up in Delhi to 45, which is around 117 degrees. And I remember sweating to death and sitting with Baba, sweating to death. And in winter, I was with this, and I was shivering. I was freezing cold because it's very close to the Himalayas, the region. One thing I noticed, which I found very astonishing to me, is these sannyasis, like today they're very happy and they're very, you know, and tomorrow they're miserable and depressed and everything. But Baba never changed. Baba was always smiling, like the world was his big joke, you know. And he was really, really humorous. He was a never-ending source of humor.
You must maintain a mental equilibrium, rather equipoise. That is, you must not suffer from any sorts of inferiority complex or superiority complex or defeatist complex or a complex of hopelessness, despair. That is, your mind should always be in a balanced condition. You must not suffer from inferiority complex nor from superiority complex.
A large part of the momentum that Ananda Marga got for growing during those prison years came from the fact that we couldn't imagine how long Baba would survive. We thought that Baba could die any time from his protest fast, and the conditions, the legal conditions, were equally dire. Several times there were attempts made on Baba's life. We used to have meetings twice a year, global meetings in Nepal, and as I was representing one of the 9 sectors, Australasia, I would go to those meetings. They mostly took place in Nepal because India came under a state of martial law in 1975 when Indira Gandhi shut down all opposition altogether and banned our organization. Indira Gandhi banned, if I recall correctly, 36 organizations, of which 24 were associated with Ananda Marga. Anything that was associated with Ananda Marga, Baba's organization, was banned. And what it meant to be banned organization was that if you openly stated, accepted, admitted, confirmed your association with that organization, you would be arrested and thrown in jail. And so during those emergency days, there were literally hundreds, possibly thousands of Ananda Margis who were thrown in jail for no other reason other than the fact that they were associated with the organization. There was no There was no criminal offense. There was just the association. And it was in that state of emergency that the case against Baba, the legal case, came to court. And naturally, not a single witness could be called for Baba's defense because they were all in jail, or they would be arrested the moment they walked into court to testify. And it was under those circumstances that the conviction was attained. The conviction against Baba. When the state of emergency was lifted and a new prime minister came into power, then the appeal on Baba's conviction was heard and Baba was acquitted. It's hard to say which came first, and perhaps there was no causal relationship at all. But as the war of Dharma heated up, so too the repression of our organization in India became more and more severe.
During that emergency, I was also arrested because I was an activist of Anand Marg. So all Anand Marg was banned because Anand Marg was a very powerful organization. She wanted to crush. That was an opportunity for Indira Gandhi to crush Anand Marg. So Anand Marg was also banned. I was also sent to the jails. Like many other, like me, went to the jail. I was in jail for about 19 months during the emergency period. During that period, when no Anand Margi can come out without fear, and during that period, Baba's case, that murder case, was opened. And there was none to help him in that case. No Margi would come out.
Testify.
There was financial problem. But our advocates were so sincere. One Nageshwar Prasad was the advocate, and some other advocates were there. They said, go ahead, we shall not charge anything, but we shall fight out this case. They were so moral and ethical. And ultimately, the case was fought in the legal, it was a legal battle. And what happened, that in the lower court, in the district court, Baba was convicted during emergency. And the conviction was for the life. Both Baba, Anand Murtiji, and 5 other persons. During that period, when the emergency period was over, naturally all Anand Margis were made to free from the jail. I got freedom from the jail. And after the emergency was over, Anand Murtiji's murder case was brought to High Court in appeal. And in that appeal, it was proved that all cases are all not with no evidence is there, proper evidence is there, in which Anand Murtiji has been convicted. Right. So the conviction was set aside by the High Court of Patna. And Anand Murtiji became free.
Throughout the time that Baba was in jail, he somehow managed to run the organization even from within his jail cell. Of course, it wasn't the same day-to-day direct handling of events, but important questions, important decisions were generally run past him. We would somehow manage to smuggle in a question or two and manage to smuggle out Baba's answers in writing. And when he came out of jail, we can say he hit the ground running.
He was released on 2nd August. The whole world was watching when Baba is coming, when Baba is coming. Great enthusiasm. All over the Margis, they wanted to know when Baba is coming. So Margis were pouring from different places. Because it was in the news that Baba is being released, honorably acquitted, so there's emergency lifted and all the workers and other Margis were also slowly released.
You know, when Baba came out of jail, the whole of Patna, Baba was in prison in Patna, and the day he was released, the whole city went on holiday. All the shops closed, the streets were thronged, there was a big parade taking Baba from the prison back to his home, but it was so crowded that what should have been a 5-minute car drive took hours, literally hours. The car could only inch along, and people were all in tears. Everybody was crying, but Baba was unmoved. He was exactly the same. And people said, "This is a great day for you." And Baba said, "The victory of Dharma, the victory of righteousness, is an ordinary event. It's not a major cause for celebration." And so even to this day, the day that, even till now, the day when Baba came out of jail, it's not any kind of celebration inside of Anandamar. Most people can't even remember what that date was. So Baba remained the same. This was one of the most remarkable things about him. Again, who can be unmoved by coming out of jail after 7 years and a fast that went for 5.5 years? Who can be unmoved by it? But he was the same.
নারদ শোনো কথা, নারদ শোনো কথা, আমার এই ব্যথা। নারদ শোনো কথা, আমার এই ব্যথা। সারিতে পারে পেলে ভক্ত পদরজ, সারিতে পারে পেলে ভক্ত পদরজ, সারিতে পারে পেলে ভক্ত পদরজ। নারদ শোনো কথা। ধরার কোন কোণে দেখো গো গোপনে, ধরার কোন কোণে দেখো গো গোপনে, লুকায়ে আছে সেই ভক্ত আজো, লুকায়ে আছে সেই ভক্ত আজো, লুকায়ে আছে সেই ভক্ত আজো। নারদ শোনো কথা।